Tudum. What's up, everybody?
What's Ruben?
I know, right? How's everybody doing?
I'm doing fine, Ruben.
Talk to me, Miss Jackie. What does fine mean?
I'm moving along with the course, learning every day,
Talk to me. Talk to me.
trying to get acclimated with this AI stuff.
Yes.
AI just woo-wee.
What do you mean by that? Talk to me.
I scared. I'm like scared I'm gonna say something. You have to find the right phrases and the right words to get what you want. I have so much going on in my head. I'm overthinking. I need to let the AI do the thinking.
I have gotten really good at using AI only
Mhm.
because I think that AI is the dumbest thing in the world. Okay. And then I have to write instructions because I can speak to it. Okay. You can speak to
Mhm.
the AI, but I have forced myself to not speak to the AI, but to write the instructions. Okay,
Mhm.
so when I'm writing the instructions, I am assuming that I'm writing it to a dumb person. So I
Mhm.
have to be very specific on what I want.
Gotcha.
Okay, and the AI, you have to tell it, act as. Okay, so when you're writing the instructions, let's say that I want it to create something for me specific. And, I wanted to act as for example, one that I just did because I just uploaded a new video to my YouTube channel that goes live on Monday. And I said, so act as a YouTube expert. I
Mhm.
need the title, to this transcript because I have to transcribe the video. And then
Mhm.
I said, this is the transcription of a video I recorded. I need to attract X type of people. This is the reaction that I want from them because we got to use
Mm.
specific words. This is the
Gotcha.
reaction that I want from them. So I want you to act as, okay, a
Mhm.
copywriter, a master copywriter in YouTube. And so I do that. And then when I upload it, then I get better. So
Okay.
it's about the input.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you
Yes.
wanted to do something, and then you say, I wanted to be more sarcastic. Okay. I wanted to, pull X emotion. And then
Mhm.
I use several, but the two that I use is ChatGPT. I have the paid
Mhm.
version and the humanizer add on to that. And then I also have Claude. Now, sometimes I'll take some content from chat and then I'll upload it to Claude and I'll ask Claude, how would you make this better?
Oh.
Okay. And then the,
Okay.
the, the two different outputs that I get, I'm going like, holy crap, I just went from a title to bullet points to a story.
Okay.
Okay. So
Mhm.
just gotta play with it. Just gotta play with it.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, and yes, I had mine actually. Let me see if I can bring this script up. Da, 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 da. Let me see. Yeah, here you go. Actually, we did. I record. This is a script for a video that I wanted the AI to do,
Mhm.
and ended up being too long, so we had to shorten it. And
Yeah.
then, but the script started. I gotta find the video. I may have to play you guys the video then. And then it says, "Hi, I am not Ruben, but I'm his much better looking clone." So that's where the AI starts, right? Because
Yeah.
if you're gonna use AI, here's the thing, specifically for videos. People are going to know it's an AI. So
Mhm.
don't pretend that it's not.
Okay.
Okay. Let them know from the very beginning that it is an AI so that they know what to expect. And then, weave that into the whole story and create a couple of things that are kind of crazy because then it's more entertaining and
Mhm.
informative, to the people. So this one starts with, I'm not Ruben, but I'm his much better looking clone. The real Ruben, he's busy working with someone just like you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so immediately I'm turning it around, and then I describe the person that I'm working with, a service professional who's finally reached, ready to launch a real coaching program, whatever. I'm here to talk about X is one of my programs. Look, look, you keep saying you're going to build that, type of business, when you have time. The truth is, you're binging Netflix more nights than you're building your dream. Not sure how to make, so I just go on and on and on, and then I make a lot of sarcastic comments as I go along, and at the very end, I close with this, and actually this didn't make it to the video. Okay, so this whole thing is cheaper than your Chipotle guacamole. Have it, book your call. But if you don't, that's okay. I understand the regret. It looks really good on the vision board. Okay,
Right.
so Miss
Okay,
K
thank
Bless,
you.
how are you? Miss K, I've been trying to reach you. I've sent you messages, called you, left you a message.
But I realized, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry about that, Mr. Ruben. I saw your message yesterday and I tried to hit you back in the chat, but I had signed up and everything, and then a whole bunch of things, some things came up and I had to be away for
Okay.
a while. So I'm
Okay.
just getting back in and going through stuff. So actually that's why I didn't book my calls yet.
Okay.
But I'm back in now and just going through stuff. So I'll check the
All right.
calendar and see when it's
Go
good to.
ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and get those 2 calls booked, and then you book with me, okay?
Okay, all right, sounds good.
But I
Thank
already
you.
loaded everything. I already loaded everything into your account.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yes.
awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
so
So
much. And I
yeah,
do
just take care
apologize.
of those 2 calls, and then you come back to me.
All right, will
Perfect.
do.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So we're talking about using AI. How do what's the best way to use AI? The best way to listen, AI is oh my God. Think about this. I mean, I have the upgraded version, of ChatGPT. I think it's about $70 a month or something like that, what I pay total for it. But guys, this is an employee for $70 a month. Okay, it's a master copywriter. I have a transcript of my new book that gets published next week. Actually, it's already out there, but we're doing a whole launch sequence for it, and I uploaded it, and I say, hey, listen, I need 40 posts. I need 5 posts a day for the next 8 days for the launch period. Use this and give me the first 5 to see where you're going with this, and it just started extracting things. Now, why did I not say give me all 40 posts all at once? Because this is what happens when you ask it to do too much,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to give you very light stuff. But when you ask, give me 5 posts, they're more dense and full with content. And then I say, okay, oh, I like this. How about if we change this subject, or change, make it a little bit more sarcastic, make it a little bit more emotional, change, vary the, because you start reading it, you're gonna see like, I like it, but a lot of this stuff is the same. So now, how about if we change? Give that in the instructions. Make some emotional, make this, use the different marketing concept of AIDA or different things, and then just give me 5 more, and then you test them, and then if you like those, you say, oh, awesome, I like this 5, give me 5 more just like it, and then it'll start repeating, and that way you go from 5 to 5 instead of 40, because then you got to sit there and wait for all 40 to get done before you can make a correction. Okay, so you want to do 1/4 inch turns, just a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit there, so that you work it. But AI, listen, let me tell you something. AI is the best tool that you have right now. Okay? Because one thing is being organic in social media, and another one is going paid. Or your organic reach, it's very small, very, very small. Unless you create some killer content that everybody likes, that everybody on that small circle of 7% that's going to be shown of the people that are like you on your friends list, if every single one of them likes it, shares it, half of them share it, and another, amount of them make comments on it, it will not go to a larger pool of your followers. They've done this on purpose. Okay, they started cutting back our reach so that we pay for reach. It's a business decision. It's okay. I'm okay with it, because they run a business for profit. So, and if I understand that, it means that I need to pay if I want to reach outside of my circle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you're running a business, you gotta have a marketing budget. You have to. You cannot pretend that you have a business without a marketing budget.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is your cost of goods sold. That's within that 35% of whatever it is your expenses are. Marketing has to be there. Marketing is not one of those things that is at the bottom of your P&L. It must be at the very top, because this is what generates money. Okay? And we have to understand that side of the business. I'm going to tell you a funny story. I had an Allstate insurance agent. He had my car policies and he had my home policy. Now, you know that when you have an agent versus purchasing something from, some online area where you get, wholesale, insurance, um, you're going to pay a premium. You're going to pay a little bit more. And the one thing that I did was I would get from my agent was every year I would get birthday cards and I would get Christmas cards. Now, they were signed, they were not really that personalized. It was a service. I know what service it was using because I'm in the marketing industry and I use similar services. So I knew it was an automated thing. Okay. But,
Okay.
they do cost money. Okay. So one time I told him, the day I don't get my card, I'll drop you. And he looked at me, oh, ho, ho, ho. I'm telling you, I said, the only reason that I stay with you, because you're 3 times more expensive than anywhere else, is because I get a birthday card and I get a Christmas card. We don't get that many Christmas cards anymore, right? So the few that we get, we appreciate, because it's a long arm touching us. Okay. Or even birthday cards. How many of you got birthday cards this year? If you had your birthday already, you received birthday cards in the mail. I get a few, but I also send birthday cards. Okay. So guess what happened one year? I didn't get my birthday card. And I dropped them. I mean, it was quick. I saved like $3,000 that year on insurances. And then I saw him one day and I told him, remember I told you the day you dropped me? Because you see, a lot of times we look at marketing as being at the bottom of the P&L, something that an expense that we can cut. No, marketing is an investment, because when you put $1 in and you can get $2, $3, $10 out, you never get rid of that dollar. You always look for that dollar to put it in. Okay, so marketing is an investment into your company and then the growth of your business. It is never at the bottom of the P&L. It's never an expense that you can cut. So as long as we have that understanding and that mentality about our marketing, we're going to be okay. So for every client that you get, I'm going to tell you this, for every single client that you get, put $100 aside. And give the $100 back to your client. Send them something, I mean, nowadays you can even, order fruit basket or something like that and it gets directly delivered to them. But it's better if you build it and send it to them. But if you can, there are services out there that do just that. Okay, you can put them on autopilot. As soon as new client comes in, this company gets a message and immediately a little welcome box or something goes out to them. Wait about 10 days. It has a greater impact for them to receive it, so you can do that. But always give back to them. And then save some for those, birthday cards. Listen, when you do an adjustment of status, what's the next process that this person is going to need?
Removal of conditions.
Right. And then what's after that?
Naturalization.
Should they not be getting a Christmas card from you every year? Birthday
Of course.
cards? Stay top of mind, stay top of mind, stay top of mind. And send something that is useful. It was years ago, Chet Holmes, who wrote the book, The Ultimate Sales Machine. I had some sales training from him, but years back, one of the things that he said was, and in his book, he was talking about this salesman that came to see him and brought him a flashlight, pen, back in the 1980s. He had his office, and Chet Holmes used to work for Charlie Munger, number two, under Warren Buffett, and he ran some of his sales divisions. And one of the things that he was talking about is that, his office was in San Francisco, and a salesman came to see him. And then the salesman gave him this pen light. And he thought, like, how dumb is this? I didn't buy, and he gave me like a $3 thing. Remember, back in the 1980s, a $3 gadget, was expensive. He goes like, this guy's gonna go broke. He doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, he had all these crazy thoughts, and that was the day of the San Francisco earthquake. And he goes, because of course the earthquake, the buildings start shaking. I'm the boss, so everybody runs into my office because they need directions. Says, all I know is whatever I read on the elevator said, in case in an earthquake, use the steps, do not use the elevator. So he says, everybody, let's go down the steps. So everybody's following him, and they're going down the steps in the building, in the office building, and then guess what happened? The power went out. But he had received that pen light earlier that day. And because he thought that it was good, he actually stuck it inside his jacket pocket. And then he remembered he had the pen light, and he took it out. He clicked. There was light. And everybody thought like, oh my God, that's why he's the boss. He's got everything, right? And then he was able to walk out and walk everybody out of the building because he had received the pen light earlier that day. And it was something that was valuable that he kept. It wasn't some gimmick or gadget or something that you would have thrown away because somebody gave to you. So he later went back to his marketing department and he said, scrap everything that we do. And from now on, we only send things that have value for the person that is receiving it. And I want it to be valuable enough that they will either consider it, putting it on top of their desk as a display, or take it home to share with their family. If it does not have those two criterias, we will not use it in our marketing. And they say, yeah, but some of those things are going to cost more money to ship because they're not flat. And he says, I don't care. And that helped take his company from the 5th place in the world to number 1 in the world in sales. He did that with 3 divisions at Berkshire. But why? Because he was able to give to his clients something of value to remember him by. I've actually used the same strategy in other businesses that I had. I used to have a roofing company many years ago. And actually that came because I was importing tiles, ended up buying a tile manufacturing plant overseas to supply the US market. And then one of the things that we did is that the marketing company, the tile company overseas, we made ashtrays in the form, in the shape of the roofing tile that we were selling with our branded name. And we started giving these things out to all the roofers and all the distributors, around the area here in the state. And then guess what? Every time we would go visit, our ashtrays were, because they were porcelain, they were sitting on their desks. They either had ashes because they were smokers, or they had coins, or they had keys, but our ashtrays with our name were always on top of every desk. Think about the marketing on that. Okay, so we give things of value, so we can give, like cups, this is one of my brands. This is a Yeti cup that is branded, different things like that, so make sure that when you send something to your clients, it's something that they can use. So what do you say? But it's a cup, but Ruben, it's not about $20 cup. Guess what? They carry it with your brand all over the place, because it isn't a plastic crap that they're going to throw away. It's a branded cup too. So that marketing goes out there with your name. Okay, so different things like that. So keep that in mind. So I'm glad that you brought that up, Ms. Jackie, okay, because we can use the AI to help us produce the exact content that we want. And you guys have in the implementation workshops, for other Sunday, Saturday, Thursday sessions that we have, where you have, if you go back into the members areas, you're going to find some of the other classes where we actually get the prompt. to create things for the immigration world. One of the things that you want to do is that if we know that the algorithm is looking for interactions, and when we do a post or we answer a question in somebody else's group, what we want to make sure is that maybe that post, the original in our page, the original post has some information, but the rest of the information, that the 5 most important things to, or mistakes to avoid when filling out the I-130 form, when we talk about dates and things like that, don't put that at the top. Make it your main post and then create a series of 2, 3, 4, or 5 comments below. So then you post it, wait a minute or two, and then go back and start adding those comments so that you have comments on the post, even though they're your own. Step number 1, step number 2, and enter. Step number 3, post it, enter. So you have 3, 4, 5 different comments underneath your post. The algorithm will pick that up as comments and it'll help push it out there. And then what you can do, if you're doing this on your business, do it on your personal page and do it on your business page. Then on your business page, if you don't know how to run traffic yet, just say boost it for $5 for 24 hours. But at least get it out there. Okay, and go ahead and destine and say from now on, from this point forward, $10 a day are going to go to my marketing. Okay, so if you do $10 a day, in 30 days, how much would you have spent? Where are all my math wizards?
300.
Sorry, I was talking and forgot you're not on mute.
So if we do $10 a day for 30 days, how much?
$300.
That's it. What if I get you a $5,000 client? What's the return on that investment? When we started the academy, what Ms. D and I used to do every Sunday evenings, I would sit with my laptop, put a movie on, and we would create images and posts for the whole week. That was our Sunday evening. Okay. She would make a whole bunch of posts. I would make a whole bunch of posts. Get them out there. And that's how the academy got started. Okay. Now we have teams that help us with that. But at the very beginning, it was just us. We found a little piece of software out there called Promo Republic that connected to our Facebook, our Instagram, our LinkedIn. And then we were able to go in there back then and, just schedule the posts. Now we have our own tool, which you now have, Ms. K. Bless, which you have, Ms. Jackie Brown. Okay, so Ms. Denise is here too, and she has it as well. So in HBB Now, there's an area where you can actually schedule all your future posts in your social media. Okay, so you can sit for one evening, pick a day out of the month, record a couple of videos. I have content creation actually blocked on my calendar. Okay, so I have a YouTube video that I recorded yesterday, was edited and everything else, and it's scheduled for release on Monday. So this afternoon I have to record another video, actually 2 videos, and they'll be released on Wednesday and Friday of next week. So we do them ahead of time. So if something happens, there's always a video in the hopper somewhere that can be picked up and put somewhere else. Okay, and those same videos you can do a video explaining a process. Okay. Ms. K, can you tell me about the I-130 form?
Yes, I can.
Okay, can you record something on that?
I sure can.
Yes, and share your screen.
Go through that. Okay, so do the screen share.
You open up the form. I am not an attorney. Okay, so I am I'm an immigration document preparer, and this is the one form that everybody's going to need if you're going to be doing this process, or that process. This is the I-130 form. Do not get it from anywhere else except USCIS. All right, I'm going to share a link with you guys only for the purpose of the recording of this class. That form, I cannot guarantee that will be the active form 3 days from now because it might get edited and might get changed. But for this class, this is the form we're going to use. Now, I don't search the internet for I-130 form. I go strictly to USCIS because what I want to make sure is that I'm getting the correct form that I need to submit. So let's open this form together. Everybody has it. Awesome, beautiful. Even if you're by yourself, assume that you're with other people. Okay. So awesome. Everybody got it. Thank you so much. Oh, yes. Oh, I love that question. Yes, I love that. Listen, I love that question. You're asking me about the 45. Guys, we're going to tackle that on our next masterclass. All right. Well, thank you so much for that. Guys, make it up. Okay. So we're going to handle that on our next masterclass. So make sure that you stay tuned to our masterclasses. What did I just tell you? I just seated. Go ahead and register. I do this frequently. I'm going to teach you how to do these things all yourself. Okay. And then, all right. So let's go back over here. So let's look at this. Box number 1, box number 2. Oh, this box right here. Listen, guys, this is where most people make a mistake. Let me tell you about this box right here. You see where it's got, this letters in here, and well, this is the date. Now, let me ask you something, guys, that are here right here. If I put a date of 4/5/94, what date is that? Go ahead, put it on the chat. Let me know. What date is that? Okay, 4/5/1984. What date is that? Go ahead, put it in the chat, guys, for me. Let's practice that. 4/5/94. Lee says April 5th, 1984. Oh, Kay says May 4th. All right, what is it? Okay, so listen, and in a form like this one, the I-130, the one thing that's going to happen is that you have date of birth, date of marriage, date of birth of children. If there are divorces, their dates, the date of the signature, where have you lived from this date to that. All this stuff has got to be here. Can you imagine how many mistakes you can make just because you use the wrong date format? Not every country has the same date format as ours. So those are the little tiny things that can actually trip your application. I mean, listen, you don't want to spend all, and here's just me seating, okay? You guys, you don't want to spend time getting all your documents ready, your all the preparations and the pictures and the translations and all this stuff that you got to put together in this packet to send it in, the money order for your fees, and all of this is going to go in, and it gets rejected because one minor little detail was missed or skipped. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm just seeding doubt that you cannot do it, that you're incapable of doing it because you need me. I'm the expert. I'm the one who can do it. All right. So, and then I go right back to my masterclass. Okay. So make sure, guys, that you don't do that. And then guess what I'm going to do when I finish the last thing that I'm going to say. This is listen, this is literally from the time that people come into your masterclass. You open your Zoom. Say there's going to be a 45-minute masterclass. Okay? That's it, 45 minutes. You're going to spend the first 7 minutes asking, I have my, where's my run show? Because we just did a masterclass last night. Okay. So the very first things that I do in my masterclass, we had one last night, is like I spend the first 7 minutes. Awesome, everybody. Let me know what city and state you're connecting from. Okay, and let me know what the weather is like. Is it cold? Is it hot? Is it raining? Is it dry? Okay, so go ahead and let me know. Now, remember, there's like 5 to 10 second delay between what you say and when they hear it. So sometimes you have to repeat the question. Don't expect people to react immediately. I get caught on that sometimes, but there's always a delay between what you say and what they receive for them to, and then you got to give them the opportunity for them to act. So when we ask a question, I'll ask the question, I'll say something else, and I'll repeat the question. So I'm trying to kill the air time. And so I'll ask the question and say, so everybody go ahead and let me know where everybody's connecting from, the city and state. I'm doing this to allow the people that are coming late to get in. But I start on the dot. And I'll start with the greetings instead of saying, well, because if you say, And I will tell you this right now. If this comes out of your mouth, I will physically leave the meeting. Well, we're going to wait for a few people that are struggling to come in or people that are late. Don't ever slap somebody in the face because they made the point to be there punctually. Start your meeting. Oh, I missed it because I was late. That's their problem. Okay? Honor those who made the effort to be there on time and be there on time yourself. My staff here in the academy, who was waiting? As Tennille, she was here. She was waiting for 20 minutes to get to the class. I always start my Zoom 20 to 15, sometimes 30 minutes before the meeting. And my staff knows that. And my staff knows that I do not allow them to be late 1 minute to the meeting. You must be there 5 to 10 minutes before the meeting starts. Okay? Especially when it's a class or an event. Being on time is being late. So we get it ready. So in the masterclass, that time that we're using to ask people to share with us their city and state, and for example, weathers, because last night it was an international class and we're doing it for the Hispanic market. And then, so I'm asking people from Argentina and then from Ecuador, and then, oh my God, it's raining and it's cold and it's hot, and people from all over the world, right? So I'm using that time to allow the stragglers to come in. If they catch on and they put their city and state, I will acknowledge that. If they don't, I will not acknowledge their presence. Okay, because they were disrespectful to me by not being there on time. Okay, I value me and I value my time. So when that happens, okay, so you just went to 7 minutes of the 35-minute, of the 40-minute class, right? So let's break it down. 6 to 7 minutes in the greetings. Now, I'm going to talk about what we're going to do today. Today, we're going to look at the I-130 form. This is the form that everybody needs to fill out. Blah, 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 blah. I talk about all of that. That's going to be about another 7 to 10 minutes. Now, about 15 to 20 minutes into this masterclass. And I haven't started yet. Okay? So now I'm going to share the link. Everybody's going to get it. People are going to download it. That's about another 5 minutes. People getting it. Oh, it won't open for me. Okay, try a different browser. You're going to hear about all that other stuff. Okay, and why should I get it? I mean, I just explained it, but somebody's going to ask the question. Okay, and then one of those people is going to be, well, this says here's 12 pages. Are we going to cover all 12 pages today? We'll cover that in a second. Okay, so you're going to get all those kinds of questions. So then you can answer them very nicely. You can be an ass like me. Okay, sometimes I just call them out. Okay, so and like last night, I had a whole bunch of attorneys. And that's all I was talking to was attorneys, and there was a couple of them that were being that, and I called them out. I stopped the class and I called them out. Okay, I said, hey, listen, professional to professional, I'll call you out. You want to act like a child, I'll call you out. Okay, so so we went there, and guess why? That's because I need to set the standard. Okay, they will not control it, and if you got a problem with them, kick them out. All right. And it's better if you do the masterclass with somebody else. For example, Jackie and Miss K. Hey, let's do a masterclass together. Perfect. One of you is your class. You focus on delivering the content, and the other person is the co-host. You're there letting people in, answering questions. You got her links and you share stuff like that. That way, the one of you who's delivering the class, you just focus on delivering the class. You don't have to be sharing links and doing all that other stuff. Okay. So do that. Your classes go much, much better. As a matter of fact, I'll even tell you what used to happen to me with my wife. Okay. I used to speak on stages all over the world, right? And then in one event that I had been part of several years, all of a sudden I'm looking at some of the pictures and I see this picture and it's my partner at the time. And then this woman standing next to him, and I go like, hey, wait, where was I? Who is she? Because I liked her, So I say, who is she? And he goes, he just called her by name. It's kind of like, who was I? He goes, no, she was there like a day before, something before you arrived. And I go like, okay, so, so tell me about her, because I liked her, right? So, and anyhow, come to find out that she knew of me a year before I got to see that picture, okay? And because she was on another academy that I had, and she was attending classes and stuff like that. Well, I started trolling her, so kind of searching her and everything on the internet and finding out more about her. And then guess what happens? One day she shows up to one of my live seminars. Okay. I had to get a towel and cover the screen. Okay. Because I got so nervous that she was there. You know, everything I said, I was always looking at her picture, you know, her image to see if she was in agreement, smiling. And if I said something that I thought it was funny and she didn't smile, I started sweating. It's kind of like, 14-year-old in his first date or something, you know. So, no, I had to grab a towel, physically grab a towel and throw it over the monitor and stop looking at her. It's kind of like, no, I'm just going to deliver my content. And then I had this big, huge Facebook group and I wanted to get in touch with her, and I didn't. So I had this big Facebook group. I had about 12,000 people in this Facebook group, and then I said, "Oh, wow, I know what I'm gonna do. I need some admins." So I tapped like 5 people. I only wanted to talk to her, but I had to tap 5 people, and put them all in a little list. And all 5 of them got an email from me that I was very impressed with the work that they were doing. I wanted to be thankful for the efforts and how they responded to the community, and I wanted to make them admins. And then the whole plan was that each one of them will have 1 week of the month to be the admin, the main admin of the week. So whatever people came in, requested more information, something, whatever the sale was, they will get 100% of the commission. I will get whatever comes in at the back end. So I made this whole big deal, but I needed their CV. Guess how I got to find out about her? So I got her CV. I'm reading it. Wow, she's educated. She's this. She's this. She's that. Yeah. Oh, every time, every line I read, she got hotter. So anyhow, she's my wife today. Okay. So anyhow, that's how we got to meet. So but anyhow, that came from a masterclass. So be careful with the masterclasses, guys. Be very careful with the masterclasses. Okay. So anyhow, so we continue, right? So now they got the I-130. Everybody's got it open. We talk about those little mistakes and we tell them, hey, listen, guys, now you know that, look out for the dates, look out for, if your I-94 has this, your first name and last name is like this on your passport, or your date of your birth certificate says it one way and your passport says it another way, and your birth certificate you have 15 last names, like most typical Hispanics, right? But your passport only has 2. When you do your application, there's a place for you to put other names used. So all these different things need to be disclosed, and then so just make sure that you guys, so you're going to do about maybe 15-20 minutes in the form, and you probably won't get past page 2 or page 3. You've talked enough about the little things that can happen, that what's going to happen is towards the end, you start closing. Hey, guys, like I mentioned, this is the 45-minute class. I want to thank everybody for being here. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to talk about the 485. If you guys need some more help, and then, oh, my God, how about this and how about that? Listen, I love that question. Yes, you want to give me your link. What I'm going to send you a link so that we can book a consultation. I will not answer questions here, and they must only pertain to this. I do not give legal advice. I am not an attorney. Okay, so what you can do is, we're going to have a couple of things that are going to happen. I'm going to send you a link, and on that link, you're going to get to choose the date and time of our very first consultation. And there's this consultation, I'm going to ask you a series of questions that I need to bring, to our attorney, and then our attorney will give us the best way to proceed. I will connect with you in a second meeting, and then you will have all the information that you need to make an informed decision of which way you want to proceed. So everybody okay with that? I'll share the link right now. Nowhere did I say that you got to pay $97 to, to consult with me, but I did say that there's 2 meetings, there's an attorney involved. I put the link there. People start going there. Some people may come back and say, "Oh, what? I thought it was free. I got to pay $97." I will go back and repeat it. Yes, I won't even acknowledge it. I will say, "Oh, thank you for that question. Yes, this is what happens. In the very first meeting, what we're going to do, you got to repeat it because I want to make sure that they understand the value. There's 2 meetings with me and an attorney in the middle. That's your Wednesdays when you come to a consultation for office hours." Wait, did I just say 1 meeting, consultation on Wednesdays, and then we have a second meeting? Guess what? All my intake calls are only on Mondays and Tuesdays. My calendar's closed for intake for the rest of the week. Why? Because I get the consultation on Monday or Tuesday, I have office hours on Wednesdays, and then I can have Thursdays and Fridays for the follow-up with my clients. Okay, so they don't have to wait a week. I mean, they may have to wait a week to book an initial consultation with me, but they're going to get their response fast because it's only within that frame of 5 days. So that's how I have it scheduled. Okay, the first meeting is Mondays and Tuesdays. Then I talk to Ms. D on Wednesdays or office hours. And then on Thursdays and Fridays, we have our second meeting where I get to deliver, the results of the consultation, and then they get to decide whether they want to proceed or not. But now, because there is an attorney in the middle, when I give the price on our second meeting, the price has more value. Now, what if, Russell, here's a question for you. What if they ask a question during the initial consultation, which is when I'm gathering all the information, and I know the answer?
I guess I would wait till the second meeting to give them the value, unless I would wait for the second meeting. I already know the answer.
Yeah, I do not give the answer. Because if I give the answer, then I lose the power of pricing.
Yes.
Okay. So I never know the answer. It's kind of like, well, I'm not sure. I cannot give you the answer because I'm not the attorney. Oh, boom. I'm going to put it in somebody else's shoulder right now. I'm shifting the responsibility, but I'm also showing the value. Okay, so, I'm not sure about the answer to that question. Like I said, this first meeting is just for me to gather a whole bunch of information. I use the 6 boxes. Tell me more about that. Tell me more about that. How have you prepared? Okay. Oh my God, how would you feel a year from now if this was all done behind you? Oh my God, I would feel perfect. Okay, so you want to leave them on a good note. Okay, so now, let me get with my attorney on Wednesday, and then, within 48 hours, I'll get with my attorney, and then we'll book another appointment. Is Thursday at 10 a.m. okay? It's Friday at 1 p.m. So just book it right now. Okay, well, you're with them, put them in your calendar. They get their confirmation. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to bring all this information to the attorney, and then we'll connect again Thursday at 10 a.m. And then I'll give you the response, and then we'll decide which way to proceed from there. Is that okay? Perfect. Go now. Gone. Yes, go ahead, Rosa.
Okay, well, one of the things that I like to do on consultations is I like to tell people that I would like to research it, review the facts, and possibly prepare an evaluation. Okay, and then we do that for a minimal price that we include in the final price, because then when I meet with them, I usually meet with them and go over the evaluation, and then I know exactly where, and I know exactly, but I get paid for that.
Be careful with that.
We get paid for the evaluation.
Be careful with that, because that could be construed as advice. Okay, so be careful with that. I'd rather you just put it on the shoulders of the attorney and not yours, because now you're saying that you're reading and you're making an evaluation. Okay, so put it on the shoulders of the attorney. Okay, shift the responsibility. That way you stay within I am a non-attorney. I do not give advice. Okay, I think that'll help you better. All right, awesome. So let's go back to our masterclass. So we're closing the masterclass. We're talking about a couple different sections of the I-130. And then, oh my gosh, guys, listen, remember I said this was going to be a 45-minute class. I want to keep up to my promises. If there's a link right here, if you guys want to have a consultation with us, now you guys know that what's going to happen. We're going to get together in the very first meeting. I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions so that I can take it back to the attorney and to the team. Then we're going to have a second meeting, and then we're going to give you, what the attorney advises us for us to do, and then you get to decide on which way you want to proceed. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I'm almost out of time. Okay, just remember that when you do this, when you print the PDF, the fill out form, and you got to sign it and stuff like this, remember to always use the right color ink. All right. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye. Now everybody's like, now you're going to see the chat go. What are they asking in the chat? What do you think they're asking in the chat?
What color ink? Pen.
That's their problem, not mine.
Bye.
Leave them hanging for wanting more information. Okay. And then follow up with an email. So this is a free masterclass that you can give of something that you already know. All you need is the structure. the class that we did last night, the master class that we did, it's an hour and a half. Okay, but the master class that we did, it's not the first one. And I still have it printed around the show. But I'm going to say, what is the first 10 minutes? What's the next 10 minutes? It's all written down. So I may ad-lib portions of it, but I have a schema. I have a breakdown of what needs to be done and who needs to do it. When I go to present somebody else that speaks, like Kevin that speaks, I got my bullet points. This is how we met. This is what he does. And I go through the bullet points, and then I turn it over to him. When he's done, he comes back to me, and then I have my list. I'll deal with the piece of paper. Just out of here last night. Okay. I think I took it to the other office. Anyhow, so and I use it, and I have there, so I have my piece of paper here on the table, and then I'm writing on the board. Actually, this was from last night. This is from last night. So what was I doing? Attorneys in Latin America with 10 years of experience in Colombia, the average salary is between 1,200 and 2,000 US dollars a month. That's the salary of an attorney with 10 years of experience. Would you go to law school for that? No. Okay, so
Come to Wheeler for that, more than that.
Peru. Okay, you look at this. Okay, Peru, the average salary of an attorney with 10 years worth of experience, maximum is $1,800. Argentina, $1,200 to $2,000. Ecuador, from $800 to $1,200. So what we're training is bilingual attorneys in Latin America that are willing to work as contractors. What does a contractor do? For example, I do an adjustment of status. Okay. And for an adjustment of status, I charge $57.50. I give my contractor $1,200. Now that's an experienced contractor. Now, what if this attorney that is overseas that wants to earn US dollars, he's just getting started, he doesn't have that much experience, he may get $600. For what? For 9 hours worth of work? Maybe 16 hours worth of work? What are those 16 hours? He's got to do the I-130, he's got to do the 485, he's got to do the, I-130s, I-131 or A or B or whatever needs to be done, that, he'll fill out the 765. So we do all of these. He's got to get them all done. What does that mean? That when I call this person and I say, hey, Maria, I got it. Do you have time for another adjustment of status? And she says, yes. She's my contractor. She's going to get $1,200 to do that. And that means that she's going to be making the phone calls. Ay, Doña Maria, remember that I need Pepito's birth certificate. I have it translated. Did you send that to me yet? Oh, no, it's going right now. Okay, please, I'm waiting for it. 10 minutes. She gets it. The translations, puts the package, it starts putting the package together. So it might take her 9 hours, 10 hours, maybe 14 hours to do the entire project. Now, let me ask you something. Full-time salary, that's 160 hours for $1,200 or 9 hours for $1,200. What's better? The contractor, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So that is what we're teaching in the Hispanic market. And we're actually teaching them just the I-130 class was 5 hours, guys. 5 hours. Okay. To how to fill out an I-130 form. Actually 6. It's 3 classes. Okay. So this is what we're training in Latin America. That's what those master classes are. In the master class, I sell the course. And you know what we're doing? Who can tell me, what do you think we're doing? What do you think we're doing in the academy? What do you think we're doing with those classes? Who wants to venture?
Loading up for the students to re-implement. Teacher?
We're training your VAs.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. We're training your personnel because you're the business owners. You're not the workers in the business. As the business owners, you should be at the Better Business meetings. You should be at, networking groups. You need to be out there talking to people. One of our annex owners, she's in a different city almost every weekend. That's because she goes from her whole circuit is churches. She goes from church to church to church to church, talking about how she helps, her people through the immigration process. And of course, pastors invite her. They're excited to have her because they need people, new blood or new people speaking at the churches. So she goes from church to church to church, and that's how she gets all her clients. So that she doesn't have time to sit there and be calling people. So she has a group of people. So now if you know that if you're charging $57.50, would you be willing to give somebody $1,200 to handle all the paperwork for you? That's a gift. You're still keeping over $4,000. And now you have an attorney that is bilingual, somebody that's attorney trained, and is trained in the academy, because we're training them all to do these processes. Now, some have experience, some don't. I have one of our students, think about this. I have one of our students. She came to the United States. She had her green card. She got her LLM. She's an attorney in another country. She got her LLM. She sat for the bar and she didn't pass. Listen, that's typical, even for people here in this country that do not pass the bar the very first time. Okay, so she had to go back out of the country, and then she overstayed for 2 years. They couldn't come back to the United States and lost her green card. She's one of our students, and she already does work for an attorney here in the United States. They said they're paying her through Upwork $8 an hour. And he says, Ruben, I kill myself for this attorneys and stuff. I mean, to me, it's heartbreaking to hear how they treated her. She was telling me about some cases, some things, and how the attorneys, curse her out and stuff like that, only because she's overseas. And I said, no, we're going to fix that problem. So now she can come here and be a contractor and make more. I mean, what if she handles 2 adjustment of status? She just double the income that she would have made from anywhere working 160 hours. And that's why they're coming to our master classes, because they want to learn. And yeah, we talked about the I-130, the 485, the 589. Last night we talked about the 765. Some people that are coming through this is the 3rd master class that they've attended. They're getting a little bit here, a little bit there, and that's okay because they're learning from us. We're building a relationship. The course that we sell them is not expensive, but to a lot of them, it's more than half of their income for 1 month. So listen, guys, it's a sacrifice for a lot of these people to even enter one of our courses. But they know that at the end of the day, they're going to work for somebody like you, and that's their income potential. So they're doing for their own families, for their dreams. And that's what we do, because we realize that as you guys are growing your businesses, you need help, but you need the right kind of help. So we'll train them and we'll make them available. You can see some of the profiles. If you go to the Facebook group, the incubator, I have their profiles on there. I got one more that I'm going to be loading this afternoon in one of our new students. Okay, so anyhow, so you guys get to know that. And then Lisa and James had right here on the chat, says, who wants to partner up on a masterclass? My specialty is family-based, AOS, or naturalization. Okay, so you guys get with Lee. Okay, and then just and then do a flyer. Put both of you guys on the flyer, and publicize it. And in a couple of different places. Let people know that you're going to be doing this masterclass. If you go into your members area, you have something that on a little box on there, a part of the content that you have that is called the Masterclass series. There's 38 videos on there. There are 38 videos on there. Those are masterclasses that we did here in the Academy every Sunday at 6 p.m. We did 38 consecutive of those. People attended. They got to know us 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Eventually, they became students in the Academy. And then you yourself, you're going to be building content. For example, how much is a FOIA? How much is a FOIA?
Free if you're doing it yourself. If you're gonna come through us, $7.50 for there.
Okay, how about if I record myself requesting a FOIA? Create a nice little landing page. Don't pay attorneys their exorbitant fees. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Those guys are heartless. Throw rocks at them, and I can't believe it. They're charging hundreds of dollars to do a FOIA. Did you know that you can do a FOIA yourself? Hey, listen, I recorded myself and I give you the step-by-step checklist, all the information, the links of where to go and everything, you just click below for $17. You're going to be able to do your own FOIA. Then all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and just before your cup of coffee, you look and you got $17 in the bank. Guess what you're going to do with those $17? Ms. K, what are you going to do with those $17?
Make more videos.
You're going to give it right back to Mark Zuckerberg. You're going to give it right back to Mark. And you're going to say, hey, Mark, take this $17 and find me more people like this. Why? Because that person already bought from you. So guess what you know? You know that there is either for them or for somebody else. You know that they need a FOIA or they would have not purchased it. They are in your list. You have their name and phone number and email address. You can start contacting them. You can give them a call. Hey, listen, thank you so much for getting it. Did you get the link? With the access? Oh, perfect. Okay, so is the video playing? Can you click on the video, make sure it plays? Because somebody told me that they were having problems with the video playing. Click. Oh, perfect. So I do hear the video is playing. Okay, thank you so much. Why don't we still do this when we use the phone? Okay, instead of this. Okay, anyhow. So so we're in the phone, we're talking to them, and now we're starting. Listen, you have a buyer in your list. Now you get starting a relationship. If they need to do something else, who do you think they're going to do business with? They already started the relationship with you. They already trusted you and gave you the credit card once, so they can give it to you again. So you can follow up with them. Hey, listen, I'm going to get back to you. I know that you just got it. I don't know if you're at the office or something. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow up you within a couple of days and make sure that you were able to get your FOIA. Okay, perfect. Then find out what is the process that you're trying to. What is it that you need a FOIA for? Oh, it's for my uncle, my cousin, my sister, whatever. Oh, perfect. Okay, so let them know that if they have any questions, to go ahead and give me a call. So you recorded a little video doing a FOIA, then you give Mark Zuckerberg the same $17 and he finds you two. Let's say that tomorrow you get 2 people, you have $34, you get 2 people. What do you do with those $34? You turn around and you say, hey, Mark, I got more money for you. Okay. So whatever comes in the front end, that's never your money. You got to prime the pump. Okay, just like if you have a well and you got to pump and you got to go pump it, you got to prime it. So you got to put something in there first. Then whatever comes out of that, it stays self-priming. The pump is self-priming. So whatever money comes in from all those $17, you promise yourself, I have a Mercury account where different monies come in and gets routed to different accounts. Found does that as well. There's a couple of digital accounts that I recommend for people to have. And then what happens is the money automatically goes into different accounts. Okay, and from those accounts, they get paid somewhere else. Okay, so I have different accounts that connect internally as the money comes in, and then externally as the money goes out, it goes out from different accounts to pay for different services. That way, I'll never see the money. You just pass through. But anyhow, so that's what I have for you today. We started with AI, okay, using AI to help us create the kind of posts that we want to create, and then make sure that we use comments below that, and then inviting people to a masterclass. We can do it by ourselves, or we can do it with somebody else. We can play off of each other in the masterclass, or we can have one person work behind the scenes, letting people in and doing all that other stuff so that we can focus on our content delivery. What I do recommend is run a show, bullet points, from this time to this time, I'm going to do this, maybe tell a story somewhere in between. You got to tell a lot of stories here. So make sure that you have a little reminders of what story to tell in each one of those particular places, and, so that people understand, and then, close your call. Close it at 45 minutes. Get out of there. Okay. Leave them wanting more, not bored that they stay too long. And that way you get to bring people in, into your circle. And budget marketing. Budget marketing. Every business has a cost of sales. Usually between 30 to 36%. That's where you want to be. That's your cost of, and then you're going to have the cost of acquisition. Okay. But all of that's going to be into your cost of sales. So you got to pay for your marketing. $10 a day, $300 a month. Start there. Okay. Start with, you don't have an ad account and all the, go open your business manager. Okay. Make sure that you have connected with that. And then that's where you're going to run your traffic. Okay. And then from your business page, you have that little boost. I mean, boost is a way of giving Mark Zuckerberg money without much results, but it's going to help you to get started. Just get boost, 24 hours, $5, go. Okay. And then, you might get some comments, you may not, but just because you don't doesn't mean that you don't continue to do it. If you did $5 a day, 30 days, $150, then you upgrade, then you go in to create some campaigns, learn how to create some campaigns, some simple campaigns. All right, to let people know what problem it is that you solve, put $10 a day behind it, and then start to watch, see what the reactions are, and what you need to change, and what you need to edit. And yes, have to be constantly changing and editing and creating new content. I mean, who of you know who Grant Cardone is? Okay, Grant Cardone is a real estate guru here in Florida. Okay, the guy's worth billions of dollars, and he still records videos every single day. His marketing team runs with his videos. They also do other marketing campaigns because he spends millions of dollars a year in marketing. And guess what he's doing right now? He's teaching his 15-year-old daughter how to invest in real estate. These are the most awesome freaking videos. Now, of course, he's at a different level. They're talking about millions of dollars investing in apartment buildings and stuff like that. But the principles are the same. He's having his daughter get the calculator. This is the price. This is what, gets paid by square footage. What is this worth? Is, what's the value of the building? Subtract one from the other. What's the profit? Oh my God, how we can make this much? So let's offer this. And then what's going to happen is, and he does this 4 or 5 minute videos teaching her some basic, investment and math principles, and she's 15, and together they're making decisions and they're buying multi-million-dollar buildings, but he's teaching his daughter something. But guess the most important thing of this is, just like my friend that I make a joke out of her all the time, because she is the only woman, and I'm telling you this, she is the only woman that I know in the entire world that cooks dinner at 5 o'clock every day. But you know what the difference between her and everybody else is? She uses her phone. Hi, my people. I tease her because I know her, and she has 2 personalities. She has the shrewd businesswoman, and let me tell you that I say that, with the full weight of the word, and then she has the personality. Hi, my people. How you doing today? Well, today I'm going to be doing this and this and this. Now, the kids don't like this, and my gringo husband, he doesn't like that. But what I do is I trick him with it because so then I use this because it's good for his prostate and all this and that. So today, this is what we're going to be cooking for dinner. Listen, if you want the recipe for today, there's a link right below me that you guys can get the free recipe for today. I'll see you in the kitchen. And then what happens? You go to the page that she said, and there is the free recipe for the day. And you download the free recipe. And then the very next page, there's another video of hers. Thank you so much for downloading today's recipe. Listen, that recipe is part of this book that I just published, digital book, that you can download, you can have it in your email in the next couple of minutes. And then basically it contains 15 of my favorite recipes or whatever the season or topic, whatever it is, and then you can get it right now for $3. Ka-ching! Lands on the next page. Oh my God, I'm so excited for you. You got the book. And listen, that book is part of this collection of books where I go through all these different recipes. I give you the shopping list for the supermarket and all this different stuff, and you can have the entire collection for only $7. Ka-ching! Well, what happens after that is that I asked her one time, Ingrid, why $3? Her answer was the best answer I've ever heard. When I met her, we started working together. She had 800,000 followers. When we separated, she went with different marketing agencies. She was at 15 million followers, and that's how much she made every year. Okay, but guess what? Her answer was, no woman has to ask for permission to spend $3. She was like the Woolworth. She said, I'll take the chain. So create your master classes, meet with somebody else, do them together, go back into the implementation workshop. You're going to find the recipe in there. There's a couple of recipes in there for a couple of different master classes, but have you break down of what you're going to do, what you're going to cover. Make sure it's stick to 45 minutes. Why do I say 45 minutes? Because if you don't have a Zoom paid account, Zoom will only let you be on there for 45 minutes. Then it kicks you out if you're using the free account. So keep it to 45 minutes. It helps you stay structured. It helps you stay on time. Even if you end a couple of minutes early, it's okay. If you're going to go over 45 minutes for a couple of minutes, ask for permission. Is it okay if I stay a couple extra minutes? Perfect. Thank you so much, everybody. But ask for that permission. Don't take the time for granted if you promise that you're going to do it in 45 minutes. And that will start to create a sequence of videos that you can put in a members area. Miss Jackie, Miss Kay, you that have HBB Now, everything that you guys see is inside of HBB Now. The Willa Video Vault. All the courses and everything are recorded. They're inside, inside of the platform. So you start creating your own little membership area. You can start creating the sale of this little independent, little products. And that's an additional source of income for you. Not the $17 that you're going to be getting, okay, or the $7 or whatever, but that money goes right back into marketing. But that means that now your prospects are paying for your marketing. Okay. Outstanding, guys. Whew. Questions? I had them dancing last night. See, when I had my hamburger hat on, we started dancing. Okay. And then I said, but because I have been in the island, I also have my threads, okay? So we were having fun last night. Listen, when I'm talking and meeting with attorneys, because they're so straight, they're so like, oh man, I just love pushing their buttons.
I like it.
I just love pushing the buttons. Kind of like. My wife said, "You always, you know." He says, "I'm a contrarian. You know, I am. Especially when I'm talking with somebody who's very serious. Oh my God, game is on. The game is on. You know, I used to be a youth pastor, right? And one of the things that sometimes at the churches that we would go and do different things, they would send the elders of the church to make sure that we were within the constraint of the whatever it is that they had. Okay, so it's kind of like whenever I saw those people in the corner watching what the youth were doing and say, I need a volunteer. Oh, I got it. Come over here. Oh, you know, pastor, elder, come over here. You know, and they're like, what? It's kind of know the kids like, yo, what is he going to do? And I loved it. Kind of like, okay, I'm going to show you the real Jesus. Anyhow.
Break
Oh
that
my
mold.
goodness.
I love it. I'm excited. Thank you. These are a lot of great points. To the master class. So the template, do you have a template for like the just setting up, or we call it talking points, kind of like?
Yeah, it's an implementation workshop. Go back into your members area. I think if you go into the implementation workshop, I think you're going to see it as masterclass.
Okay,
Actually, it says that masterclass setup. Because
perfect.
you can do it for free or you can do it paid. If you do paid, you have to teach a little bit more because they want to make sure that they get the worth.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
If it's just going to be a free masterclass, you can, you know, you're teaching is, you know, down to about 20 minutes. You're telling more stories and everything else, and you're pretty much basically what you're doing is you're creating a relationship to showing them that you have some knowledge that they can hire you for later.
Okay.
Okay. If it is paid masterclass, then I'm much more obligated to deliver more content. And then you want to probably stay there for about, you know, an hour and a half. And then you deliver more content to them to make sure that they get their money's worth. Okay. So those are the difference between the two.
One other thing, far out would you recommend like doing it, setting it for maybe 30 days?
3
days,
weeks.
3
3
weeks
weeks.
up? Okay.
3 weeks. A lot of times when we have, you know, bigger events, it depends on the event, but if for a masterclass, 3 weeks max, no more than that.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions? Because we have come to the end of the day. I'm going to do, who remembers Garrison Keeler? Nobody. Oh my God, I just dated myself. There used to be a Saturday show that was called Prairie Home Companion. It was a radio show recorded live. Okay. And even though it was on TV, it was recorded for radio. Okay. So when it was transmitted through radio, but it was always televised. And it was called the Prairie Home Companion. It was about this little town, Lake Wobegon in Minnesota. So, and you know, this is the type of show where they would say, and the door opened, and there was a guy in the corner doing all the sound effects, and he would grab a couple pieces of wood and go, yeah, you know, and he would make all the sound, you know, and they were walking in. Okay, he will make all the sounds and everything in the corner, right? And they always have some local musician on there. And anyhow, there was one section of the show that everybody always waited for, and those were, I mean, the guy was Garrison Keeler. He was an amazing storyteller, and then he would always start with, "And this week in Lake Wobegon." So everybody would just go crazy because we wanted to hear it. It's a small town with about 300 people, and we all knew the lives of all of them because he kept weaving them into all these stories through time. And then every time he would always end his stories, there was always a twist, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, that was so awesome!" There was always a twist, and then it would say, and then he would end like this. And those are the stories from Lake Wobegon, where all the women are strong, the men are good looking, and the children are above average. So, with that said, This is the academy where all the women are strong and smart, and the men are absolutely good looking, and our children are above the rest. Oh, thank you, everybody.
Love it. Thank you, Mr. Santiago. Thank you so much,
Have a good
everyone.
day. Have a good day, everybody. Bye bye.
Thank you, Ruben. Bye.